Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we are going to talk about what to expect in Miami, the information that we have, because a whole bunch of questions came in about whether or not people in Miami should avoid the area. So, according to the law enforcement sources at this point, they don't have any specific credible threat. Okay? That's the information they have. That being said, they are anticipating large rallies that may get out of hand. Do you have a reason to go down to that area today? I mean, there's not much down there. I would avoid it if it was me, or I would try to stay out of the area. If you normally drive through that area to go somewhere, take a different route. I I don't foresee. I haven't seen any of the type of social media posts that preceded other events. But that doesn't mean that something can't get out of hand. So if it was me, I would just avoid the area. I would stay out of there. Now, you have law enforcement saying no specific credible threats. You have them saying that they expect rallies. The numbers and the estimates vary wildly. They are all over the place. Some in the thousands or maybe even 10,000. Others that are generally more plugged into the area are looking and thinking 1,000. And then you have some that are not law enforcement, that are more of non-government entities that monitor this kind of stuff. They're not even expecting 1,000. But it doesn't take a lot of people to send things sideways. And as we have talked about, emotions are running high. There are a lot of people who put a whole lot of faith in this man, in Trump, and they truly believe all of the rhetoric. And they're not looking at the indictment. They're not looking at the photos. They're not looking at the transcripts or any of that. What they see is, big government coming after their guy who they believe is anti-establishment. Yes, I understand the irony of anti-establishment being defined as, the former president billionaire. But that's what they believe. And when you're talking about something like this and you're trying to gauge their actions, you have to look at what they believe, not what you believe, not even objective reality. You have to look at it from their point of view. There are a lot of people who fell down a whole lot of rabbit holes over the last few years. Some of them believe things that are objectively false, and it might drive them to do things that are disruptive to the normal goings on in the area. So if it was me, I would avoid it. I would avoid the area. That way you don't get wrapped up in it. The really funny part about all this is that if things do go sideways, it will have the exact opposite result of what they want. What they want is for him to be released. If the judge perceives it as a societal risk for him to have access to social media and be out making speeches, please understand that the judge would be well within their bounds to remand him and keep him in custody. It's not a likely outcome, but the wilder the protests, the more likely it becomes. He's a former president of the United States. a judge is not going to want to put him in detention. They're not going to want to put him in jail. But if the alternative to that is an emboldened movement of people who might be destructive, the judge may view that as the only option. So in a weird way, the more militant the rallies, the more likely that they get the exact opposite result of what they want, because they're not going to be at the level where they actually scare the federal government into letting him out if they were going to hold him. That won't occur. But they might be able to scare them to the point of saying him being out is a continuing danger. So I think that's why you have a lot of mixed messages coming from his supporters, and you have a whole lot of people who normally use a lot of dog whistles to try to kind of, rile people up, saying be civil, be calm, be legal, all of that, because they understand the risks. Realistically, it's a bad move for the Trump team to support these rallies, because there's always a risk of them getting out of hand. But that's where we're at. And there are a whole lot of law enforcement entities in that area that would respond to anything going sideways. So, short version, yeah, if you're in Miami, I would avoid the area. There's no reason to risk it. If you're just a spectator from outside the area and wondering what's going to happen, the assessments are all over the place. And given the volatile nature of some of his supporters, you can't rule out the possibility of it going bad. At the same time, his support is dwindling. And given the fact that he wasn't entirely supportive of those people who went to bat for him on the 6th, there may be a lot of people who are supportive of him online who don't see the value in risking themselves for him, because they know that he's not going to back them up. So, anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.